Wow, welcome everyone. I'm Mimi Box with the John Bon Jovi Soul Foundation. I'd like to thank our partners, the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean County, and the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition, without whom and without whose knowledge this event would not have been possible. Many speakers and panelists are playing a very important role here today. Many members of our community have stepped up to help us understand the challenges before us and what we each need to do to attack the root causes of hunger in our communities. You have seen photographs and you will hear some amazing and sensitive stories about our neighbors right here in New Jersey. These documented photos and stories are real and give insight into those struggling every day. So a thank you to our photographers who will be out in a moment. Our goal of hosting the event is to let all know that there is a place at the table to expand and diversify the partners, partnerships, and conversations among us working to end hunger in New Jersey. These discussions have been designed to provide food for thought and ideas for future engagement and collaboration among ourselves. We want to broaden the scope of who else should be involved. So for a little housekeeping, you will have the ability to participate in this conversation either through questions which are on the index, which you can put on the index cards, which were in your playbill when you were seated. If you have a question, you write it out, just raise it up, and an usher will come down and collect it. But also, through the live streaming of this event, there's a link to Twitter using hashtag Soul of Hunger. So where at this part of an event, one might be asked to turn off their cell phones, we actually just want you to silence them and to get on your Twitter feeds. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Adele LaTourette of the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition.
Thank you, guys. Are you excited? Yeah, come on, get excited. My name's Adele LaTourette. I'm the director of the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition, and what the coalition does is we work through activism, advocacy, and education to end hunger in New Jersey. My welcome is very brief, so good for you, lucky for you. I want to thank the John Bon Jovi Soul Foundation, Mimi Box, and Heather. Amazing. They may work for a rock star, but they are totally rock stars. And of course, John and Dorothea Bon Jovi. This really would not have happened without all of this behind us. Carlos Rodriguez from the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean County. So I actually would have forgotten to say thank you, except I was looking at this beforehand with Carlos. The photographers. I'm telling you now that standing up here and looking out at all of you is really scary. So can I get a round of applause for the photographers? And the people who made those photographs happen and worked with the photographers. Lisa Pitts from the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition. Yeah, Lisa. Rich Crowland, her husband, who helped put together the program and put together so much. Diana, Susan, and Debbie, all from the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean. Amazing hard work, partnership, but mostly their passion and their empathy, which is so clear, and you will see it come through loud and clear. The Center for Food Action Board and my executive director, Patricia Espy, for their support. Thank you all. I hope we have a great panel. Write your questions down. I'm excited. Thanks. And here's Carlos Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mimi, for that warm welcome. Thank you, Adele, rather, for that warm welcome. See, you forgot my name, and you forgot to introduce me, and I forgot your name. I also would like to thank John and Dorothea Bon Jovi, of course, Mimi from the Soul Foundation and their teams, as well as to the entire food bank team, staff, board, and volunteers for their hard work leading up to today. Thank you to everyone here today for taking such a wonderful Monday afternoon to join us, and for those listening via the live stream for joining in this discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, hunger in New Jersey and across America is a problem made worse since the economic crisis and again when Sandy made landfall here in New Jersey. Many of our neighbors continue working to rebuild their lives. Today, we will meet some of our neighbors, and I want to thank them again for sharing their stories, which have already made an impact with the photos that greeted us as we walked in today. In addition to Governor Christie, Tom Colicchio, and Lori Silverbush, we are also joined by friends from near and far, representing a number of sectors: business, health, nonprofit, and charity, and with them, a wealth of knowledge and passion on these issues. Can we just thank them ahead of time for taking their time and join us today? We have with us Bob Aiken, CEO of Feeding America, Dr. David Kuntz, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Jersey Shore University Medical Center and Associate Dean at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, Richard Saker, CEO of Saker ShopRites, Ellen Vollinger, Legal Director of FRAC, and Nancy from the Advocates for Children of New Jersey. And you'll be hearing more from them on the panel. But first, it is with a distinct honor and admiration that I welcome the person who first welcomed me less than 2 years ago when I joined the food bank. She describes herself as a pragmatic idealist. Since 1975, Kathleen began an emergency food program out of the back of her car in conjunction with the Archdiocese of Newark. Since then, she has worked tirelessly on a mission to provide food, help, and hope to those in need. A mentor, friend, and inspiration to us all, today she's here to present the state of hunger in New Jersey. Please join me in welcoming President and CEO of the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Kathleen DiChiara.
Thank you, Carlos. So many people get credit, or I get credit for what so many people make possible. My role today is to talk a little bit just about hunger right here in New Jersey. So I'm going to give you some numbers. But as I give them to you, a quote that stays with me when I do something like this, working with the numbers, is to remember that statistics about the hungry are only numbers with the tears wiped away. And there are many tears being shed in New Jersey because of going hungry. Right now, we have 642 people on SNAP, that's food stamps. And that's an increase of 50,000 over the same time last year. Since 2008, the number of unemployed has more than doubled to 400,000. 988,000 people live in poverty, and that statistic doesn't take into consideration the high cost of living in New Jersey, and that actually people 250% of poverty still struggle with basic necessities, putting food on their table, paying for a roof over their house, affording child care. Food becomes the expendable in those situations. Oftentimes, not oftentimes, pretty regularly right now, those receiving help are denigrated, are talked about as lazy, as taking handouts. But those of us on the front lines, we know that isn't so, that the working poor make up such a large proportion of those who regularly go without enough food. I had a conversation recently with a friend who said something about all those people on welfare. And I said, how many families do you think are on welfare? And he said, oh, hundreds of thousands. And I asked about 5 more people, and no one said 36,000 families. That's it. And the welfare hasn't been raised since 1988, so no one's getting rich off welfare in our country, let alone here in our state. There are things going on right now as we sit here where the shutdown of our government might happen. And with everything else that happens with it, nutrition programs are going to be impacted. WIC, Women's and Infant Children's Program, is going to be hit the hardest. We can't have that happen. My life experience in working on behalf of the poor, working with and for the poor and the hungry, is that no one sector can do it alone. Food banks and other charities, emergency pantries, soup kitchens are so needed, and they need your support. But we can't do it alone. Food stamps are critical to so many people. And we need all of you to become informed about this. We need the corporate world and the generosity that is shown to us, especially here in New Jersey, by the food industry. All of us together need to work so that we can end hunger in New Jersey. When you leave today, you will be so much better informed, I'm sure, than when you came. But you have to leave with a commitment. You have to do something. Collaborate. Get your house of worship involved. Be a voice for the voiceless. You need to take action. You need to look closely at systemic causes of hunger and poverty in our nation and in our state. As we are part of one of the greatest countries in the world and one of the greatest states, we need to act that way and make sure that little children aren't going hungry, that our seniors aren't sitting alone crying because there's no food in the house, or working poor who struggle many times more than 40 hours a week, still don't have enough to provide food for their family on any kind of regular basis. You, every one of you, can make a difference. And I thank you ahead of time for doing that. That's it. And now I'd like to introduce Laurie Silverberg for the next panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take your time. You want me with the arms or without the arms?
With the arms.
Okay, so sit right there. And I'll sit right here.
Okay.
Can you sit on the Yeah, I'm going to sit over here. Okay.
Testing.
Do you want the sweater on you?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for, can people hear? Yes? Speak into the mic. Okay. Thank you all very much for staying for the film and for staying for this panel. I'm very honored because I was asked today to speak to a group of some pretty incredible women who have agreed to take a very courageous step and come and share directly some of their experiences with food insecurity and some of the other issues around food insecurity that they're experiencing. These women are all photographers. Their pictures can be seen in the lobby outside. They have been witnesses using a camera, sharing their day-to-day struggle, what it means to go through life and not necessarily know how you're going to put food on the table on any given day. And them talking to you here, I met many women and men and young people in this position when we were making a place at the table. And we often found that there was a lot of reservations about speaking publicly, largely because we often in our culture, we demonize people who are struggling. We make them feel bad. We make them feel like they somehow have done something wrong or at fault. So to overcome those feelings, even if intellectually you know that it's not true, takes an enormous amount of courage and faith that you're in good hands and that your message will be heard. And these women have shown up today with that faith in you and the trust that you could see their pictures and put them in the context in which they are meant to be seen. So I'm going to point out we also have a little bit of a support network with us today. We have, in addition to the women who are going to introduce themselves, we have two of Jessica's brought her children here as a support network, and we also have two representatives from the food bank. They are coordinators from the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties, also here for moral support and also to answer any specific questions that they would know the answer for that our photographers might not. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to jump around. But the first person I'm going to ask to introduce herself here is Martha. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Martha. I'm 57. I'm disabled. I have 2 adult children. My main income is from Social Security income, and I live close by to Red Bank. I do get services in this area.
Perfect. Okay. Ramelia, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Ramelia Scott. I'm 39. I'm a disabled Army veteran with 2 children. I have 2 that live with me, a 6-year-old with kidney failure, and my 10-year-old daughter, who is a very big help to me.
Okay, that sounds great. Jessica, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm a single mom, 47 years old, with 2 kids. My older daughter, 18, who should start college, and my son, 12 years old. I lost my job from 12 years to last month ago, and it's very hard.
And Chris, could you introduce yourself?
My name is Chris. I'm 46. I am a single mother of 5 boys, and I'm a registered nurse in the operating room.
So, I had an opportunity to speak with these women. We were also given the words of another woman who could not be here today, another photographer whose pictures are out front. Her name is Adrienne. Unfortunately, Adrienne suffered a personal tragedy last weekend and couldn't join us, but she asked if we could read a short statement. My name is Adrienne, and I am disabled. At 50 years of age, I am battling serious health issues in addition to raising 2 grandchildren, one from infancy and one since she was just 3 years old. They are now 12 and 14 and are struggling in an environment that is wrought with challenges brought on by a low-income household, food scarcity, and limited resources. I rely on benefits that I receive from the SNAP program, Medicaid, and New Jersey Helps. Without continued assistance, my grandchildren would be in foster care, without love and support that I myself alone provide. This past October, life presented another challenge as we were emotionally, mentally, and financially affected by Sandy. We are recovering, but the devastation that surrounds us continues to impact us on a daily basis. So I'd like each of you to talk a little bit about your current situation. Are you currently receiving benefits? And if so, are you making it? How are you making it? Can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life? So Martha, why don't we start with you?
I currently receive the SNAP benefits from food stamps. I'm in danger of losing them the next few months because I occasionally work for the Monmouth County Board of Elections. and I'll be over the limit. I just started getting them after Sandy, and it took me about 6 months to get them. I had to repeatedly go see social workers at the Board of Social Services. It was very frustrating. I went to places in the community where I heard social workers would be. I had to make repeated phone calls. I had to constantly beg to see that my paperwork was being processed, and I was told that a lot of people are in need, and I had to wait. So meantime, I went to different churches, to the soup kitchens, and to different food pantries to try to sustain myself. And a lot of times it was difficult because I wasn't driving, and I had to get rides, and there wasn't any place close to where I live. I live in Port Monmouth, right in the bay, and there isn't any place close by that I could get any help from, that I could walk to.
And you told me that there were times when your SNAP benefits have been threatened because you own, for example, a 10-year-old car, and you've been told that might put you over the limit. And can you speak a little bit about that, that sort of thing?
My car is, I was told my car is worth over $2,000, and because of that reason, I couldn't get the food stamps, and I couldn't have any other resources. So I actually went to Senator Frank Pallone's office to try to get some help, and I was told temporarily I would be approved, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get them anymore.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Romelia, you are a veteran of the U.S. Army.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were injured as a consequence of your service. How has that affected your employment status, and can you talk to us a little bit about what your day-to-day life is like?
Well, due to a seizure in 2010, I was put out of working as well as driving. So now I'm stuck alone, taking care of a 6-year-old with kidney failure, trying to keep myself together. And with everything, I'm not allowed to drive, I'm not allowed to work. I'm stuck in the middle. I can't go anywhere. I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I just haven't found it yet. But I will find it. I know there's help for me. I just got to find it and get it. It just hurts.
Yeah. And your son, you said, has special needs.
He has kidney failure. He has to have both kidneys replaced. Because of it, he's on a special diet. He drinks a lot of water. He has to go through at least 2 surgeries before he gets the kidneys replaced.
As a veteran, did you ever expect to find yourself where you are right now? What did you think your life would be like after you did your service?
I didn't think it would end this way, that's for sure. I figured I fought for this country. Maybe the country would help me if I did get down. Right now, it doesn't seem to be able to do anything for me because I am a disabled veteran. They think I can stand on my own. It makes it really hard. I would never tell anybody not to go into the service because they do take care of the people that are there. They do take care of us. But if you get into a position where I'm at, they may not be able to work with you because of the amount of money that you make on the disability. And that's the biggest thing.
Thank you. One of the things we hear a lot about SNAP and SNAP recipients is that SNAP creates a culture of dependency, and that some of the people who argue against SNAP are trying to convince the nation that it is something that is abused and that the people who are on it are not necessarily working or looking for work. But I certainly saw something different than that when I was traveling the country interviewing people for the film, and I definitely heard something different than that today. Jessica, you had a job just until July, and it sounds like you've worked continuously since you came here as a young person from Guatemala. Can you tell us a little bit about your job and how that played out, what's happening for you?
I came from Guatemala 22 years ago. I've been working every single time, every single year. I've been working for a company for 12 years. I lost my job 2 months ago. I will never think that I'm going to have to go to unemployment, food stamps. With the loss of my job, I lost my health insurance for myself and my kids. I have very long issue of health. I cannot afford my medication. I'm out of medication right now. And thank God, it's not always bad. My kids have the New Jersey Kid Care, what is a big relief for me, what is a big help, and I'm very grateful for that. On the same time, that fall when my daughter just gonna start college, I could afford for her college. She needs to change her career because we can't afford her college. She needs to take a loan for herself to pay for college, her books. And as a mother, her, because I feel like I fell to my daughter to don't send her and be a future of America, you know. But thank God she was able to have a loan for herself while we pay in the first semester. We will see what come along. And food stamps, thank God for that too, because I get it for my son, not for my daughter, because she's 18, a full-time student, and she's not able to work right now, so we cannot have that help for her.
So because your daughter is a full-time student, which we're really proud of you, by the way, terrific, but she does not qualify for SNAP. And
No.
I think you shared a story with me that when you went to try to get benefits, they said, well, why isn't she working? And you explained that she goes to school, but they said she should be
Yes.
working instead of getting an education to get
Yes.
more SNAP benefits.
When-
We don't have a lot of time, but just wanted to introduce Chris. Chris, can you tell us just a little bit about you work you're an OR nurse?
Yes, I work in the operating room. I can't work as many hours as I'd like to because I do have 5 children and I'm raising them on my own. I'm very grateful that I have the New Jersey Family Care Insurance because covering expenses for 5 boys, whether it's well visits, sick visits, dental benefits, it's a huge help. Recently, just last month, I was diagnosed with skin cancer and I had to have 2 surgeries myself. If I didn't have the benefits, I really don't know how I would have made it. I've reached out to St. Vincent de Paul Society in my church. They've given me help. It's just been very, very helpful to have the resources out there. I'm waiting for benefits from the SNAP program. I'm hoping that that'll happen soon because it'll allow me to use my paycheck towards other monthly expenses that it takes to raise 5 boys.
So you've applied for SNAP, but there seems to be a recurrent theme that long after applying, you're still waiting, and in that interim period, you're kind of left to figure it out, and it's a struggle. And Chris, you really fly in the face of most popular ideas of who's on SNAP because you work, you're working now, but the
Yes.
amount of hours that you are able to work does not give you
Right.
the income. And have you, and I open this to the other women on the panel, have there been times when you have gone without food yourself to make sure that the young people or the kids in your households are getting enough food? And is that something that you deal with frequently? Jessica, you were nodding your head before and sharing.
Yes, being very discriminated. I'm being told that I should go back to my country because I'm taking help for American people. But I don't ask to be put on this situation. Unfortunately, I lost my job. I love to work. I don't like to be home. I don't like to take it. But unfortunately, I was forced myself. And I'm being humiliated. When I went to food stamps, they were really rude with me and tell me why my daughter have to go to college and why she don't go to work. Because I could understand why I couldn't have food stamp for her. She's still living at home. I'm still supporting her. And they told me that no, she have to, if I want a food stamp for her, she have to go back to work. She have to find a job. And I have to find a job and stop trying to take her help. And unfortunately, I don't choose this situation.
You mentioned that you've been looking for work, and all
Yes,
of you have been looking for
yes.
work that you can do, given your health situation or your, yeah, it sounds like that's a recurring theme. If you could work, you would. If there were
Yes.
jobs, you would be doing them, for
Yes,
sure.
actually, I'm going for.
So
see
we
if I
have
can
to
go
wrap
school.
up, but the one last thing, if anybody would like to add, I mean, can you tell us what you, did you expect to be in this position? Tell me what is it that you would like people to know about you? What would you like them to take away about you leaving today? And I thank you for speaking out, because I'm sure that people here are really grateful to hear from
I
you.
think that a lot of times people think that people who need the services from food stamps and the New Jersey healthcare, which has really been a blessing, a lot of healthcare plans have a shortcoming, and I find a lot of times I have to spend money on necessary things that I need to have every single month, and there's just not enough money for anything else. And I've had a good employment history. I used to work at Fort Monmouth for many years. I've worked at Prudential. I've had good jobs. I tried to put money aside. But other things in life have happened to me, and I didn't expect to see myself at this point in life where I was constantly having to decide, do I pay the rent, all of the rent, or am I going to pay the utility bills? Do I have enough money to buy bread? I don't have a way to get to the food pantry to get bread and to get other things. But even the things that you get at the food pantry, it's not enough to make a meal. So you really need the SNAP benefit. And then if you're faced with the fact, like now, I'm probably not going to be able to get it, then how much longer am I going to have to wait to get extra help? And then that just puts me back in the hole. I'd like to work if I was able to.
Chris, you mentioned that you, after a period of struggle, you went to a food pantry near your house. We're going to finish with that. Can you just tell us what that was like for you? Because I think a lot of people think, well, you know, there's food pantries that you're fine because you can just go there.
It actually wasn't something that I could do. I just never thought that I'd see myself in this position. I went to school, I became a nurse. I'm a mother of 5 children. I have a house. It's in foreclosure now, but going to a food pantry was not something that I ever saw myself doing. I never thought that I'd have to apply for the SNAP program, but I need to pay my other bills, and no one thinks that they would be here, especially me.